We will take a sensitive and non-judgmental approach to anyone who comes forward asking for support about domestic violence and do everything we can to make those affected feel confident and supported.
We recognise that the health, safety, well-being and productivity of our workforce is impacted by situations of family domestic violence. And people who are victims of family domestic violence might not always go to their people leader, and they might not always go to their P&C business partner.
I think AGL's decided to take a stance on family and domestic violence because it's actually a really important issue. It's not just an issue that for sort of communities or for people outside of work. It's actually something that I feel that we have an important role to play and show our support for.
I think it's important that AGL takes a stand on family domestic violence because I've lived this. My childhood was burdened with family domestic violence issues. I didn't recognise it at the time, of course, as a young child. If my mother had had an employer who cared about its employees, who was empathetic, who wanted to help, then just maybe my sister and my childhood would have been different.
For me, family domestic violence is something that I haven't experienced personally, but I have had a close friend who has in the past, and just one night of terrible violence totally changed her life.
I have had a family member go through domestic violence and friends as well, and I think it's a lot more common than what people realise. And to be able to come to a workplace that you know that if you were ever struggling with a topic that really I think people feel a little bit ashamed about, and that you're able to come here and get the support and it's confidential, I think it just gives you a real peace of mind.
There was a quote that someone once said that I thought was brilliant, and they said basically, a house where you feel unsafe is not a home. Your house is your family, really, and really, yeah, just because you put family in front of family domestic violence, it's still violence.
By training all employees in and improving their awareness in family domestic violence, what it does is you're taking your workforce and you're educating them and giving them more knowledge that they can actually take out to their families and to their communities.
I'm hoping that sharing my story might be able to help others so that they feel like they're not the only ones, they're not the only person at AGL that has experienced this or is experiencing this. Having said that, I'm also really respectful that not everybody has to share their stories. Some people don't want to, some people aren't ready, some people aren't comfortable doing that in a workplace, and that's okay as well. But I think you're much more likely to be approached by a colleague rather than in a formal sense. And at least if you've done the training, if you've heard some other stories, if you know that there is a way out, then you'll be able to be a support to the person that does share their story with you when they're ready.